Good evening, everybody. This is our dream meeting upcoming. My name is Kattis Gullberg, live in Sweden. I'm one of the founders of Money Working for You. And today we are going to have a nice journey to use your brain and wake up and see whatever it's inside, what amazing things that you can do. We will listen to Jason Burden, my partner since a long, long time ago. He's been in the business for over 20 years with goal setting and dream building and, well, making dream boards. So over to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Kattis. Well, welcome everybody. I just want to say that this is actually one of my most favourite subjects to talk about, because the dream is everything. My business actually, we were on a really good business meeting this morning with a guy called Peter Cox, who's got a global organisation in like 29 countries, and he actually wrote a book called The Dream is Everything. And if you ever get around that guy, he says, yeah, you got to get a dream, guys. You know, the dream is everything. But the thing is, you know, we all have dreams as human beings, right? That's our brain is designed, first of all, to keep us alive, all right? And most of us manage to use our brain to keep us alive, don't we? We don't even think about it. But your brain is the most powerful computer in the world that you can possibly have. And if you program your brain with the right things, you get the right results that you're looking for. Okay, but here's the problem. Most people complain about what they don't have, or they complain about life, or they complain about the bills, and it gets worse and worse as we go through life, because you know, we actually live in a dream-taking world. Okay, first of all, your boss takes all your time, right? Okay, we have a job, and the boss is eating up all your time, and then they ask you to come in on Saturday as well, when you should be actually with your family. And you know, it's always tends to be something to do with taking your time, taking your money, and as we go through life, the dream becomes harder. Okay, but you know, when we were kids, we could always dream, correctly. You know, we could do it no problem. But we live in a dream-taking world, you know, and I can prove that straight away, you know, because if you met me on the street and I came up to you, you know, and I said to you, you know, what's your dream? You know, what's your dream? And you'd almost look at me like I just asked to see your underwear. You know, it's so personal and it's so fragile that you don't want to tell anyone. And sometimes we have a dream and we don't even want to admit it ourselves, you know, because we've been dreaming about something when we were younger, but as life goes on, we start to put the dream back in the back of our mind, and we just start to think, you know, is this as good as it gets? Okay, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but for me personally, I've been in that position a lot of times. Okay, but I can tell you a little bit about where I come from. You know, I come from a place called Reading. I was born into a normal class family. I wasn't rich, you know, we weren't a rich family, we weren't poor, we had most of the things that we needed. We went on holiday once a year. Sometimes if my mum and dad's business did a bit more well, you know, we might end up in the Mediterranean, and if it wasn't a good year, we were camping in a second-hand tent in Wales. And I don't know if you ever had that sort of treatment. You know, it's I don't know, it's almost like punishment. My parents were trying to do the best they could. I know that when I look back now, but some of those holidays were horrific. And if you ever get the chance to ask me about the holidays in Wales, you know, I still remember them to this day. Okay, but you know, I'm just saying this because I went into a normal type of education. Okay, I was taught certain things, and the thing is, I wasn't very smart at school. I wasn't really that good, you know. I went into all the different classes, and guess what my favorite class was? It was art, because it was the only place where I could be creative and the teachers didn't give me a hard time. But the rest of the classes, I suffer from something called dyslexia or dyslexic, and I had trouble reading and writing. But the trouble is with schools, they grade you on your achievements through school for the first few years of a child's life up until adult. and then you're sort of labeled with this grade, and you're supposed to get a job based on that grade. For me, I don't think that's fair, okay? Because it should be all about how creative you are. Because if you haven't got any passion or creativity in any job, you're never going to get what you want. So the thing is, we all start out the same, don't we? You know, well, maybe not Chinese looking, but we basically start out, you know, as a baby. We don't have any fears. We don't have any doubts. We're not scared of anything at all. We're just like an empty shell that can smile and look around, and we're starting to be like a sponge, and we're starting to gather information from around us. And the first people we get information from is our parents. And remember, we're a sponge. We start getting programmed by people around us. But here's the issue. What if your parents have certain issues? Okay, and I don't mean drinking or smoking. I'm talking about insecurities. They have fears, they have doubts, they're not confident. Well, that's what actually duplicates into a child. Okay, I sort of have a joke myself that I spent all my adult life repairing the damage that came from when I was a child. Okay, I don't know if you relate with that, but I certainly do when I say it, and it still scares me when I say it myself. But the thing is, you know, we gather certain information, and it gets logged into our subconscious. And by the time we're 7 years old, it has already set up all the basic things of how we are going to become as a child. Okay, and that is what's going to then develop into later life. Remember, babies are only scared of two things, and that's they're scared of loud noises or being dropped. Okay, the rest we put on ourselves. You know, what are you scared of now, right now? If there's anything that you're scared of that's stopping you from getting what you want, you know, what is it? Be honest with yourself. You guys thought this was going to be a dream, and it is going to get more nicer towards the end. But my goal here right now is to wake you up a bit. And the reason why I want to wake you up is because most people are going through life on autopilot, and the trouble is that they don't even know that they're on it. Why do we do that? And I'm going to explain why. Because, you know, when we're kids, you know, you look, I love this picture. You've got all these wonderful kids. One's an astronaut, one's a doctor, one's a chef, one's a fireman. They're dreaming. You know, we as adults buy that for a 6-year-old, and they said, Dad, I want to look like an astronaut. Okay, we'll get you the suit for your birthday. Why do we do that? Because we want our kid to feel like the astronaut or the pilot or whatever it is. We want them to have that dream. Okay, and it's really cool, and we're adults are all taking photographs of the kids, and this is when they got the astronaut, and that's what we do as adults. But I tell you something changes. Okay, something changes again, and it's when you're a teenager. We're starting to go through our grades at school, and this is a very tough period. You know, a teenager going through all those natural changes that we have to go through. We're also getting pressured by grades at school, and people are asking you, what job are you going to do? You've got to be serious about life, otherwise you're going to screw up your future. That's what I was told. I left school scared half to death. That's how I left. That was my beginning of my adult life. If you ask me how I felt at that age, and I would tell you, I'm terrified, because I didn't feel prepared for my life. Nobody had taught me about a bank account. I didn't know what a bank account was. I didn't even know I needed one. Nobody taught me about skills with people. I came out of school with very low grades. I had no skills with people. So I was actually scared to talk to people, believe it or not. That is not a good start. If you ask Peter Cox, what is one of the keys to success? He says, being good with people. Why don't they teach that at school? Okay, it's really important. You need to know things about money, and you need to know how to communicate. They don't teach that at school. They didn't teach it to me at school. But anyway, we go into the job based on our grades. So we go into I remember when I first got my job, and I And I just thought, you know, oh my gosh, after the first day, I thought, oh no, only 45 years of this left. Whoopee. I knew that on the first day of my job. And I remember how horrible my legs felt, because I suddenly had to stand all day instead of sit all day, because in school you sit, right? And when I went to my job, I was told to stand. I wasn't allowed to sit down. They called me lazy, but I was okay to sit down at school. So there was a little bit of a change there. And I ended up going into a job. And the thing is, I did like nice things. I had dreams. If I saw a beautiful car go down the road, I loved what I saw. And like one day, and then I saw my paycheck. My first job was £40 a week. It's like, in Swedish money, it's 10 crowns a day. That was my salary. And then I see a Lamborghini driving down the road, and what does that do to your dreams as you get older? So you sit, so every year you're working in the job, in your career, you're working up, and your dreams are up here, but your income is there. And by the time you're 30, you start to shrink your dreams to match your income. We all fall into that trap. Okay. And we start to go on life's autopilot. And we start to say things, well, next year will be better. Next year we're going away. Next year we're going to buy a car. Next year this, next year that, and it goes on and on and on. And the trouble is, we are in this vicious little rat wheel of living from paycheck to paycheck. It's scary stuff, guys, and we don't even know what it's all about. And as I keep saying, you know, my goal here today is not to bore you, it's to wake you guys up, because most of you don't even know you've stopped dreaming. They're pushed so far back in the back of your mind. We need to learn to push them forward. Okay, so we sometimes think it's going to be better. I tell you what it is. It's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Okay, but the trouble is, you know, we have our lovely Christmas, and we all get in debt. We max all the credit cards. And then we have this little break in between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and we're starting to relax. We're starting to get excited about the brand new year, because it's going to be better, right? It's going to be a better year. We're falling into the rat wheel again. The trouble is, we enter our new year with a New Year's resolution, saying we're going to go to the gym, going to get slim, and it's all this big list of things that you want to do. And you tell all your friends while you're drunk. So 80% of us even forget we said it, right? But then we go in, but if we do remember it, we go into the new year with old thinking. You can't take old thinking into a bright, sunny future. There needs to be a change, okay? Because dreams are not luck, they are not a wish. Okay? Most people say, I wish I could have, I wish I could do that. That's not a dream, okay? And dreams don't fall in place just by luck. I'm here today, first of all, to wake you up that you can get what you want, but I'm also going to show you how you can get it, right? Because now we're going to try to start to get on the interesting stuff. There is a way, and just by focusing on a few different things, you can start to get what you want instead of wishing. Does that sound interesting, guys? If I could hear you, you know, I know you're all on silent now, but go, whoa, yeah, you know, because this is exciting stuff, okay? First of all, it starts with a dream, okay? But you need to be a visual person of your dream. So first of all, you need to write down what you want, okay? And then also you need to have a goal with a date, okay? Most people don't have the goal with the date. That's why it just remains a wish. Because if you know what you want, and you know when you're going to get it, you can then work out a strategy which will then create the actions to make sure it happens. So the only thing you need to focus on is your daily habit. Are you actually moving closer to your dreams, or are you moving away from your dreams? Okay, very, very simple steps. Anybody can do this. So, you know, it's really important to understand that life is really short, and most of us are wasting time. You know, a beggar and a millionaire, they both have 24 hours in the day. It just depends what they do with the time. Okay, we've all heard it, but you know, if you're a person that has heard it but doesn't actually really apply that into the brain, say, yeah, that guy was right. Yes, I do have 24 hours. Could I be better with my time? Well, let's talk about time. Each one of these columns represent 10 years. So what is the average age of death? Some people say it depends what you're doing, what habits you got, where you live, what food you're eating. Okay, but we can make an average. You know, we can say, you know, if the average is what, 70, 80 years old, maybe. Okay, or if we look after ourselves in our earlier days, maybe we're taking nutrition, drinking lots of water instead of Coca-Cola, like me now. You know, maybe we live up to 100 if we look after ourselves properly. But quite often life is quite fun, so we take decisions to do probably things that don't serve us, and we all fall into that trap, I'm sure. But as you see, 2 of those blue bars, that's where you did your education. That's where all the hard work was to set your grades. Okay, and then 10 years goes. I remember my years between 20 and 30, and it went so quick because I was traveling everywhere. I lived in Greece. I had opened my own companies in the UK, and it just went quick. But I remember when I was sitting there with my friends in a pub in the UK, and I was 30 years old, and I was a little bit cocky because I said to my friends, I said, oh God, I've done so much more than you. You know, you just been in Reading. That was my attitude. It was quite bad. And then I decided to leave England. I sold everything. I sold my house, my cars, my business, my printing company I sold. And I decided to just leave. I didn't even know where I was really going. It wasn't Sweden. I wanted to move somewhere hot. So I went to Greece, and I ended up in Greece for 3 years. That was a nice tan. I tell you what, I ended up in Sweden, and the time shot past, and all of a sudden I'm 40. Okay, and then all of a sudden there's another 10 years in Sweden. I'm 51 now. Do you agree with me that 10 years goes quick? How much time is left on this chart for you? Is it 10 years? Shall I go any further? Maybe some of you don't want me to. I'm getting really depressing now. It is going to get better this meeting, I promise. Okay, guys, I just want you to understand that life is like a toilet roll. The closer to the end, the faster it goes. Okay, and we have to have a bit of humor with life. You know, some people treat it so bloody seriously. You know, life is about having fun. It's about creating great memories with your loved ones. Okay, it's not about sitting in an old people's home when you're 90 and just sitting there thinking about regretting all the things you didn't do. Okay, life is about traveling through life at 400 miles an hour, sliding into your grave, closing your eyes and say good night. Okay, that's how it should be. Get real with yourself, you know, start thinking about what you want. You know, start to work on your dreams. You know, you need to start thinking about what is it you really want in life. You know, the trouble is that most people don't stop to think. Okay, and that's what I highly recommend for you guys. Take a day just to stop. You turn your mobile phone off. You even separate yourself from your partners, your kids. You go to a beach where you can think. There's no one around, and you just stop and you think about what you really want. Okay, I want you to stop the wheel turning just for you for one day, so you can work out what you want. Because the thing is, everyone has a photograph album, correct? If you think about this is really important, because you're going to start to learn to visualize your dreams. Okay, everybody has a photograph album, so they can remember things of the past. And do you know what most people do? You know, you see people, they go on holiday and they come back and they've just got all their photographs developed. You know, now I'm talking a bit old school. I know we do it a bit more digital now, but it's still the same thing. You know, we sit there on an iPhone now or an iPad, and we grab our neighbour to have a quick look at. Oh, I've just been to Greece. Come and have a look. I've got to show you my holiday pictures. Why do we do that? You know, we actually don't even want to come over to see your holiday pictures. Okay, most people don't want to see it. What they want to be is actually on the beach, and also the person showing the pictures also wants to be on the beach again, because they've come back. They just want to relive that feeling that they had while they're away. Okay, but the thing is, how many of you right now has a photograph album of your future? Does that sound weird, right? It does, doesn't it? How many people have a photograph album of their future? I do. I have one. But to a person that's not a dreamer, or a person that's just stuck in the rat wheel, they don't get what I'm saying. Do you know only 3% of the world's population have a photograph album of their future? 3%. The other 97% have a photograph album of their past. That means they are living in the past, not living in the future. And guess what? You know, the ones that actually have a photograph album of their future, these are the guys that actually achieve that lifestyle. The other 97% just continue in the rat wheel complaining. So in Jason's logic, this is Jason's logic speaking right now. This means, okay, I can be one of the 3%, or I could be one of the 90%. Isn't that just a choice? For me, it is. I can guarantee it's just a choice. But you've got to write down what you want. You start with a blank piece of paper. Your future is absolutely spotless. Okay. And here is the question. If money and time was no obstacle, what would you write down? Okay. I know a lot of you right now, if you said, well, if I won the lottery, I would buy this, I would buy that, because you can suddenly, most people can connect their mind with a lottery ticket. And especially when they're sitting in front of the TV and they've got the first 4 numbers have come up and they know they're 2 numbers away, and your mind starts to race and you're starting to think Lamborghini, house by beach, and it all starts to come in place. You can do this without a lottery ticket. Most people that win the lottery end up broke anyway. Why? Because they don't change how they think. Okay, because yeah, that's another subject. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. But the future, your future is spotless. So you've got, if you imagine, you've got all the money in the world coming in, you've got all the time, what would you write down? This is where you have to play with your mind, because most of you are thinking, well, I only get that on the salary, so I'm only going to write down a Ford Fiesta. No disrespect if you drive a Ford Fiesta, by the way. I'm just saying that if you had endless amounts of money and time, you probably have a different thing written on your list. You need to be creative with your list, okay? Because when you understand what I'm going to teach you, and you can get past this point and start writing down what you want, your life will start to change, if you want it to change. Start by writing down 100 dreams. A gentleman asked me to do this quite a few years back. All right, he says, Jason, write down 100 dreams. I'll be back tomorrow to have a look at your dream list. And I didn't really even want him to have a look at my dream list, you know, because I was protecting my dream. I don't want to show you my dream list. I had quite a bad attitude towards this guy. And I felt actually quite a winner, because you know, I've always been a dreamer. My mum always said, you know, Jason, you got your head in cloud 9, come back down, and you know, if I could grab your feet, I'll put you safely back on the ground because I love you. That was my mum. Okay, she still says it. So bless her. You know, she's 80 years old now, and she says, Jason, are you still dreaming? I said, yep. She's never going to kill my dreams. Nobody's going to stop my dreams. But the thing is, I thought I was a big dreamer. I wrote down 13 dreams on the piece of paper. And the guy turns up the next day, and I felt embarrassed because he said 100. And I said to him, I said, I'm sorry, I only made it to 13. You know, what more do you want? You know, fast car, big house on the beach, lots of women at that age, you know, what more do you need? And he says, Jason, he says, don't worry. He says, the last guy I spoke to only managed to write down 4 dreams. So you already, he was just trying to make me feel good, I'm sure. But for you guys, you just need to split it down. You just need to write down 20 things that you'd like to do in your life. Okay. 20 things that you would like to buy, you know, material things. You might need to write down more things if you're a woman. If it's my wife, I'm pretty sure she can write down 100 things just for the things she wants to buy. 20 things that you want to experience. 20 things that you would like to become. Okay. Remember, you did that education right at the beginning of your life that graded you to have the job. Okay. 20 things that you'd like to become. There's nothing wrong with an adult going back to do new education. If it's on your dream list and you want to become a pilot or drive cars or design dresses, if you're a lady, you know, want to be a designer, or you want to take up craft pottery, write it down. If you're not one of those things and you want to be it, write it down. It's 20 things that you'd like to become. And then there's, if you have extra money, you know, who could you help? Is there 20 things that you could, where you could help somebody else? That is a beautiful thing when you help someone else, because you're in a position where you can help them. Okay. I really challenge every single one of you on this meeting, or anybody that's actually watching this film, write down the 100 dreams. Okay. It's really, really important, because I couldn't believe when I started doing this properly. It was like my mind was completely open, and I started looking at nice cars again instead of thinking about what I could afford. I was trapped in this, I don't know, I was just trapped in this box where I thought I couldn't ever have anything. Or when I'm in the supermarket, I had to pick the meat with the different price. I didn't look at, you know, what I wanted to do was pick up the meat that I wanted to buy. Do you ever do that? You know, if you're a guy, you look at a guy or girl and you go in the shop and you're picking up the smallest piece of meat because you know the price is really high, and you're trying to look with what the quality of the meat is. You burn it on the barbecue anyway, most of us, but you know what I mean. You know, we're comparing price. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to just write down what you want. So you've got to start thinking big. You've got to dream big. You've got to believe big, so the results will become big. Okay. You've got to have a paradigm shift in your mind. We've got to snap you out of the rat wheel. Then you've got to start visualizing. Does anybody know what a dream board is? Okay. This is going back to the photo album of the future. Okay. My wife and I, we went to Paris for our honeymoon. That is a beautiful city, by the way. If you haven't been there, that is just, you can smell the love in the air. It's really a brilliant place. But if you haven't gone wine tasting in Paris and you think that could be quite a nice trip, why not find a picture of it and then write a date and put it somewhere where you can see it? Okay. What the mind is very, very powerful, because if you can see, if you can actually think it here and you can see your dreams in your eyes, you can hold it in your hand or experience it. Most people don't get it because they haven't visualized it. They haven't thought about it. They're in the rat wheel. How about a romantic dinner in Italy? You know, can you imagine just you know, your partner or your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever your situation is, okay? And you tell him, "Oh, meet me at the airport. We're going for dinner," you know, and you've just got 2 passports, and you just quickly jump on the plane and go and have pizza in Rome or something. you know, these are crazy things, but a lot of people forget to do these sort of things. Whenever my wife and I get the chance, even when we, you know, maybe we haven't got the money to go away all the time, but sometimes we just book a hotel in the same city where we live, because it feels like a little surprise, a little break, and it creates a memory. How about safari in a hot air balloon instead of watching it on Discovery? Can you, these are pictures not to boast. This is pictures to help you realize that if you want to go in a hot air balloon and do a safari in Africa, and you're looking down and it's hot and steamy and sweaty, and you've got your grandparents, the mum and dad and all the kids, those baskets and those balloons, they hold about 12 people. Can you imagine the memory when you come back to the UK or whatever country you're in, and you're talking about, actually you don't need to show all your friends and family. You just say, gosh, you've got to go and do the safari, okay? Because can you imagine your kids, how they would thank you for doing a trip like that, okay? Same thing with the camel ride in Egypt, you know. I haven't done this one, by the way, but I'm definitely going to do it. It's definitely it's actually on the list. Going to do it. And then, of course, my home country. You know, I was born around 45 minutes drive from London. But I tell you what, if you haven't been to London, go. That wheel is huge, by the way. Okay, and you're walking down there by Big Ben, and the wheel's opposite. You know, they hold 18 people in each one of those cars. You can be in there with your family, just taking some pictures of Big Ben and the river, and just, but it's your dream, okay? You know, you decide where you want to go. I'm just giving you some travel ideas. You know, how about India? Picture you there with your family. It's a beautiful building, right? But why not? If it's on your dream list, do it. Skiing in Sweden. You don't want to see me skiing, by the way, okay? I have skied once in England, but it was on a dry slope, and people say, well, what's that? And it's like brushes which are sticking up, and your skis are on that. But I'm pretty sure they have snow ski slopes in England now, but we're going back to some time. But why not? If that's your dream, to come to Sweden and go skiing, you know, we've got good ski slopes in Sweden, in the north, and Norway and so on. Maybe that's a wish of yours. Go down under, you know. I actually used to live in Australia, but I don't remember it, unfortunately. I was too young. But my parents lived there for many years. And when my parents lived there, the Sydney Opera House wasn't built. My father had a lot to do with the construction, because he was a concrete engineer. That's why they were in Australia. And they used to live on this land opposite here, in one of these buildings here. I have to check with them which one it is. But one of my dreams, I don't think my parents will ever fly there again. They're a little bit older now, unfortunately. Time goes on, right? But my dream is to actually stand in front of the Sydney Opera House, because I want to go back and I want to take the picture, and I want to go back home to England and show my parents I was with your building. And I want to go back and see where they lived, you know, because it's really, really important that you put a face in the picture, okay? I don't know if you've gathered, that's what I've been talking about. Each picture, I'm talking about your family. Because if you just put a picture up of Australia and you're not thinking about who's going to be on that memory with you, it doesn't really happen. How many kids in the 80s had a photograph of a white Lamborghini on their bedroom wall? How many kids drive one? Okay, because they didn't put their face in it. They just had a beautiful car on the wall. So, what car would you want to drive? You know, remember, it's not about the money. Okay, it's about what you want to drive. You need to write down what you want, and you need to start looking at photographs of what you want. Maybe you want an off-roader car. Maybe you want an American classic. Maybe, you know, what house would you live in? You know, would you like a house in the countryside? What would your kitchen look like? Who would be in the party with you there when you first move in? What would be the view out the window? Would it go down to the beach? Would it go down to tennis courts? Would it go down to, I don't know, whatever you want it to be? Okay, this is your dreams I'm talking about. I'm not talking about mine. Look at the view from that place. That's crazy, right? I think this is actually in Sweden. Okay, I bet they don't have a television. Do you think they have a television? I don't think I'd have a television with that view. Actually, I don't have a television. If you see my living room, there's no television. I call it the electronic income reducer. While that thing is on, you are watching other people's dreams instead of building your own dreams. It is the most expensive thing ever designed, because people watch their dreams on TV instead of actually going out and getting them. Plus, it looks ridiculous. Watch your partner actually watching TV. Okay, stare at them watching the box. It looks really funny if you're thinking in a different way. And maybe you want to live by the lake, okay? Or maybe that, I think that's a hotel there, but maybe wouldn't that be a nice retirement project? You know, you want to be a retirement home where you're running some sort of small business in the forest somewhere. You know, I don't know. I'm just giving you ideas. Try to get inspiration from other people's dreams, because sometimes people they start with a board and they're not really sure what to put on it. So you know what, we've got some good tools here. You can bring up Google and you can type in nice cars, dream houses, dream experiences, and you can start flicking through photos and see if you can start to wake up your dream. See if there's anything there that you have forgotten that you wanted. Okay, you can get inspiration even by other people's dreams. Look at that beautiful place there. Okay, beautiful infinity pool. You know, this place is absolutely crazy, actually. You know, look at, notice there's no TV there. He doesn't need a TV with a view like that, right? And then that's his upstairs landing. Beautiful lights in the ceiling. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, right? I bet that costs a few $1 million. Bedroom view, you know, that's not bad, is it? Can you imagine that? You know, it doesn't have to be here. You know, even in Sweden, you can get some beautiful world of views, you know, and you don't even have to be right on the beach. You can be slightly up a hill and you still get this sort of view, even in Sweden, even in Norway. There's some beautiful places. But can you imagine actually lying in that bed and those electric curtains come open? That's an amazing dream. But this was someone's dream, and this house does not even exist anymore. The guy didn't like it. I don't know what's wrong with him. He actually knocked it down and decided to build something else. I haven't got pictures of the new one, but he knocked it down. The guy who owns this is Tiger Woods. Okay, the famous golfer, and he built this place as his dream and didn't like it, so he knocked it down and then built something else, different shape. All right, so I don't know what was wrong with the guy, but I would have been quite satisfied with that view and that house. But anyway, to keep your dreams alive. How do you keep your dreams alive? Well, you write down what you want. This is part of my dream list, and it's dated 2014. Just some of them. Some of them are crossed out. I need to cross loads more. This is just on a computer picture, but a lot of these things are already done. It's just like my order book of the future. When I want it, I bring one of the things up that I want. I will set a date for it and I will go for it. I will find a way. Okay. And when you have a dream list, you don't have to start off with a $2 million house. Yes, you should write it down, but you don't need to start there. You can start looking at smaller things and achieving the goal, even if it's just to have a coffee with a friend you haven't seen for a long time. Remember about the experiences. It's a dream experience. Catch up with an old friend just for a coffee. Write it down. It makes you start to achieve things, especially as you start, wiping them off your dream list. Okay. So that is a vision board. That is a travel board, you know, that's obviously a travel board, you know, it's different boats and sceneries and stuff like that. And loads of those things have already been done. This was made 2014. Okay. And I put all these different pictures up. There's a lady in the corner that's supposed to represent Egypt. Couldn't find a picture of a pyramid, but she went on there anyway. Okay. And I'm mad about Lamborghini. You know, if you get me in a Lamborghini garage, you won't get me out, because I can't stop. You know, I can't stop myself. I have to go in there. The garage in Stockholm, they know me by name. You know, I park my car around the corner so they don't see what I'm driving now. And I walk in and they say, "Hi, Jason, you want coffee? Yeah, go and sit in your Lamborghini." Okay, and sometimes I go in and it's gone. You know, this green one's gone. Actually, it's another one there now, but they're all nice. But I said, "Oh, where's my Lamborghini got?" He said, "Well, you're too late for that one, but you can have a sit in this one." Okay, I'm always in the Lamborghini garage because I love to sit in the car. I like to smell the leather. I like to put my hands around the steering wheel. I like to close my eyes and dream that I'm driving it. Okay. I'm keeping my dream alive. I can visualize it. And of course, I have to set goals in my business and everything which I'm working with. And one day it will be there, okay? Because it's on my dream list. This is the one that's in the place, you know, that says everything, right? Go and see your dreams. It's actually fun to do it. If you're a guy or even a girl, if you love cars, go and test drive them. If you want to go to you know, if you're not sure what dream house you like, look in the paper and see what house viewing is coming up where there's a house for sale. Go and look at the sales, go and look at the houses, even if you're not interested in buying yet. Because when you go into another person's home, they let you look around. It gives you ideas about the house that you would like to live in, maybe in the future. So I recommend you go and look at houses which are out of your league right now, so it stretches your imagination. Yeah, that's another one. You know, that was awesome. All the engine is all painted red. It's yeah, I'm going crazy about the Lamborghinis again. But I love this garage because there's so many different types. There's actually other cars in there, so I spend a lot more time in there than I should do. This was a dream. I used to actually own one of these in England when I was a lot younger. I think I was 22 when I owned it, and it's not a real one, it's a replica. Okay, and this particular car has a Chevy V8 in it. I saw this guy at a petrol station a couple of years ago. He lives in Norrtälje, and I walked over to him and I said, I used to have exactly the same car when I was 22. We got chatting. He saw I was crazy about Lamborghinis. He said, get in, let's go for a drive, and we did. It was fun. It was two boys that with their toy. Did you know the difference between a man and the toy is the only difference is the price? Okay, the only difference is the price of the toy. But it was really a really fun experience, and I told this guy, I said, I'm actually putting this car on my dream list because I want to go back and buy this one, because my dream is to have a double garage. When I open the double garage, there's this one and the new one. Okay, you got to have a Sunday car, correct? And that's my dream house. I'm very, very confident about sharing my dreams with you. This is actually supposed to start being built next year. It's 2023. I'm going to build it in Crete. Okay, that's my goal. I can visualize me sitting there on that sofa, my kids swimming in the pool, cooking souvlaki on the barbecue, looking over the Mediterranean. It's not that far from Sweden to build that house. But that's my dream. That's my dream. That's what I'm sharing with you. I have pictures of this and I see it every day because I'm good at visualizing things. How does this stuff work? Well, it starts with a dream. You write down your dream. You write down a list. Remember, 20 things of each. Okay, 20 things of each. You know what you want to do, what you want to have, and you know. I will make this into a film so you can listen to it again, because I know it's a lot to take in. And each thing that's on your list, you need to write down the goal with the date. How are you going to get it? what date it's going to be. You've got to have a strategy so you can get in action, and you focus on your daily habits. You do not focus on the goal. You do not focus on the goal. You set a goal and then you focus on your daily actions. This is where people go wrong. They just set on the goal and then it just seems so far away, so they never stay in action. Here's me, right? This is talking about dreams, okay? 1981, my dream was flying model aeroplanes. It's still my dream, but the trouble is the planes get bigger, okay? When I was 11 years old, this was a very cool type of hobby to be in. It was so new, radio controlled planes flying off and on their own, and you'd be able to control them and land them. It was really, really exciting, but they weren't very cheap. So, you know, I had to work pretty hard in my mum and dad's business. So they were quite nice to me, but I was always able to get the money somehow. But my dream for flying is still there, even at the age of 51. Okay, and I had a dream when I was young at this age that I wanted a particular aeroplane, and it's a giant, and it's this one. Okay, that's pretty big, right? It doesn't fit my car very well. It is a monster. It's there's nowhere. My wife absolutely hates it because it lives in our house. Most normal people don't have that in their living room, right? What do you have in your living room? Most people don't have that. The propeller it's actually 1 meter. To give you an idea, the actual propeller is 1 meter. The wingspan is over 3 meters in span, and it's got a twin cylinder 120cc petrol engine. If you're a bit of a petrol head, anybody? I know. Yeah, that's a pretty big engine, right, Jürgen? It's not a toy, but that was a dream for a very long time, and that one arrived in 2020. It's 2 years ago, and my wife still hates it. This picture was on our ceiling. How many people have a picture on the ceiling? Why would you have a picture on the ceiling? I told you, you've got to visualize all the time. You know, now I'm getting really excited because I know how important this stuff is. Okay, I may have scared you half to death and bored you in the beginning of this meeting, but this stuff is really important. You've got to visualize your future. Okay, this picture was on our ceiling. Why? Because it's the last thing we saw when we close our eyes, and it's the first thing we see when we wake up. We wanted to build a house. This goal was 2016, and there's the house there now. All right, it's actually got windows now. We don't let all the mosquitoes in anymore, but it's all finished. That house is in the Philippines, and it's if you go the other side of the house, it's a beautiful view of the Pacific. And it's a little bit higher than the beach, so we don't get hit too hard by the typhoons, which are always there. And there's them open. That was dream number 34. If you notice, all the dreams have numbers from the list. So when we set a goal, we just tick it off. It's an order book. Do you have a photograph album of your future yet? Are you thinking about making one? This was dream number 16. My son wanted to have a motorbike for his birthday. Remember I said you always put the person's face in the picture. I visualized his face before I even bought it for him, because I knew what he would be like when he saw it. You've always got to put the person's face that's important to you in the dream so you can create the memory. And if you're a couple and you're not sure what you want, where you got together with the person because you love them, right? And you're both in this little rat wheel race, I challenge you to write down just one, not even 100 dreams. I challenge you to both sit there as a married couple or an engaged couple, whatever it is, and you take a piece of paper each, okay, and you write down what the lady's dreams is and what the man's dreams is, without them seeing. And then I want you to swap the pieces of paper, okay? Because quite often the man will do anything he can to get his wife's dreams to come true. And the wife will normally do anything to get the husband's dreams to come true too. You can do that, guys. When you're connecting your dreams with your partner and you just snap out of that rat race, you can achieve awesome stuff. Your dreams is just one decision away. You just got to write down what you want. Start playing with the vision board so you visualize in picture form. Make sure you read your dreams every day, every morning, every night. And make sure once you've found your strategies to make it happen, you make sure you follow your daily habits every day to make it happen. Any person can get their dreams to come true